Have you noticed that pain is selfish? Think about the last time, whether an accident, illness, sickness, whatever it was, you were in pain, and you didn't intend to be, and you didn't want to be, but how incredibly selfish you became. Now, I know we think selfish is a bad thing, you don't want to be, but part of that is the awareness of recognizing, right, that part of pain's job is that when you are in pain, it is your body screaming at you saying, hey, something's wrong, pay some attention, I am in pain here, take some action. And it seems impossible to think about anything else when you are in pain, and that's pain's job, to get your attention, to take some action, to find some healing. Pain is selfish, but it's kind of its job. But then there's the tension, right? That when you're in pain and you really want like compassion from others, but at the same time you know that you need to take action. And so there's the tension between wanting compassion but also needing to take action. The tension between receiving empathy and wanting empathy for being in pain. And you're like, come on, people, don't you recognize I'm in pain here? Without taking on a helpless victim kind of a mentality. Financial pain is similar. That when you're facing job loss, job search, extended, and just like with pain, with physical pain, the longer the pain goes on, the more difficult it is to deal with and to come to terms with, and the tension between empathy and taking action with financial pain, whatever it may be, job loss, uncertainty, month after month where just the budget isn't working out because there's more month than there is money at the end of it, and it just is complicated. When you're drowning in debt, you can't seem to get out of it. Financial pain is similar to physical pain in that it just screams for your attention. And you want to get moving, you want to take action, but also acknowledge the agony and the pain of finances. So we're taking a few weeks, and we're talking about the weight that you're carrying. Because as we look around, and as we get to know each other, every one of us is carrying something. Every one of us is carrying some kind of a weight that is weighing us down. And as we're talking about it, here's what we discover. That God sees the weight that you're carrying. God sees the pain that you are dealing with, and we're finding comfort in the Lord and also some encouragement to take action. So today we're going to talk about the weight of money. So think about it for yourself. Last week, Billy started us off and gave us a really great foundation for how God walks with us, helps us in our pain with the weight that we are carrying. So let me just kind of list off the few things we learned last week that kind of get us started to really build the foundation for the rest of the conversation. Number one, Jesus lightens your load and strengthens you to carry it. Shared that when we're feeling weighed down, what we want is for the weight to be gone, for Jesus to just take it all away. Sometimes, in some ways, but rarely. And often what Jesus says is, no, I want to lighten your load by strengthening you to carry it. And Billy shared this: you can survive any weight by pairing up with Jesus. Because one of the ways that Jesus strengthens us is that he carries the weight with us. The next thing we learn, Jesus lightens your load by giving you clarity of control. Such a great lesson to learn is to learn like what is inside of my circle of control and what is outside of my circle of control, and to put my emphasis and my energy into the things that I can control, surrendering the rest and saying, Jesus, help me with the things that I really cannot control, to trust those to you. Jesus lightens your load by altering your perspective. And we get out of a situation, and we look back, and we see, oh yeah, part of the pain that I was experiencing was I was thinking about it incorrectly, and Jesus teaches us to think differently. We're going to talk a lot about that today. And the last thing, Jesus strengthens you by providing what you need. So, with that baseline, let's get into talking about finances today. Billy talked about it really, really quickly, but we're going to kind of revisit this next part of the theme every week. In that whatever is the weight that you're carrying in any kind of different area, there's kind of about three different places that you can be, right? You can be in a place of just surviving, barely surviving, trying to keep your head above water, surviving, or you can be in a place of striving where you're like, I'm not drowning, but I am going, I'm working, I'm busting it. It is hard and it's grinding it out and I'm striving, or you could be in a place of thriving. So, this is going to be really crucial to the whole rest of the conversation today. When it comes to finances, in which of these buckets would you say you are today? Don't worry, you're not going to have to raise your hand. You're not going to have to, but maybe what you do is you just take your notes page here and you just circle the one, put a star next to it to kind of think through, because I'm going to talk about each of the three as we go through this today. So think about, in which one of these are you? Financially just surviving? Financially striving? Or financially thriving? And it is okay, if you are in a place of thriving, it's okay to own that, to proclaim that, and say, yep, this is where we are. Think about that. Okay, now that you've kind of nailed where you are, we just pray a one-sentence prayer with me as we get going today. Jesus, please alter my perspective. It's one of the things we said Jesus does as he helps us with the weight that we're carrying. He alters our perspective. Jesus, would you alter my perspective? Jesus, would you bring me in line to see finances, money, the way you do? Jesus, alter my perspective. Okay, here we go. Let's gain some perspective. Now, if you wanted to gain perspective on finances, would it be better to go to your friends, your favorite social media influencer, or to go to someone who's older, wiser, successful, godly, etc.? Your friends or older, wiser? Which is going to be better? Older and wiser. Okay, let's get some older, wiser wisdom and guidance from the Apostle Paul and a few others today. So take your Bibles if you have them and turn to 1 Timothy chapter 6. What we find in 1 Timothy, as you're getting there, is, and sorry, I don't have the page numbers for the hardcover Bibles, but the best way to find that is go to the end of the book and kind of start working your way back, and it's going to be probably within the last 100 pages or so. 1 Timothy chapter 6, and what we find in 1 and 2 Timothy is the Apostle Paul, who is just so wise. He writes, so much of the New Testament. He is writing to his young apprentice Timothy, who he has been pouring into and teaching. And at one point, Paul moves on to another village, and he leaves Timothy back behind, and then he writes him a couple of letters, and 1 Timothy and 2 Timothy are a couple of those letters in which he gives him some advice, some wisdom, some teaching, some theology about how to live his life, how to do his ministry, and at the end of it, he spends quite a bit of time giving him some really good financial wisdom and advice. And so as we read this, since we just prayed the prayer, God, alter my perspective, as we read this, I want you just to listen for what God might want to say to you that challenges and alters your perspective with how you see money, view money, spend money, save money, whatever it may be. So we're going to pick it up in the second half of verse 5, and Paul references these people, whoever they are, that he is saying, warn them, insist them, teach them the truth, because there are people of corrupt mind who have been robbed of the truth because they think that godliness is a means to financial gain. And so they're in your church, Timothy, and they're talking about God and they're growing in the Lord, but they are there because they are motivated for wealth, riches, financial gain, and they have come to believe that if I want to become rich, the quickest, fastest way to become rich and wealthy is to become a Christian, become a follower of Jesus, and that's why they are there. They're not there for the right reasons. They're there only to get rich. Be careful. Teach them the truth. Now, here's what I believe. If you follow the teachings of Jesus, you're going to end up in a much better place financially than if you follow anyone else's teachings. The result may be financial blessing, but that's not the reason or the motivation to follow Jesus. And if you're following Jesus, doing the right thing only for the financial gains, you are going to get off track. You're going to get yourself in trouble. Look what he says in verse 6. But godliness with contentment, now that is great gain. That is a balance sheet worth pursuing. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. How's that for some financial wisdom? If I have food and clothing, okay, maybe a roof over your head. But hey, even that, there's folks that don't have that and live with contentment, and they're okay. All the things that we think we have to have. He says, if I have food, clothing, I can learn to be content with that. And if I can learn to be content with just food, just like the bare minimum, then everything else is a blessing on top of that. Doesn't that put me in a lot better mindset than always needing more? Nothing's ever enough, because part of the challenge is to define enough. And the Apostle Paul, remember, like wisdom, godliness, someone who's been there. What we discover in the rest of Paul's teachings elsewhere, he says, look, there's been times when I had a lot, and there's been times when I had nothing at all. He's like had the whole spectrum of financial positioning. And now in wisdom, he says, we really can be content with just food, just clothing. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation, into a trap, and into many foolish and harmless desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. Okay, remember what we're praying. Jesus, alter my perspective. Skip down to verse 17. Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, to be generous and willing to share. And in this way, they will lay up a treasure for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age, so that they may take hold of the life that is truly life. Interesting that he does not say, command those who are rich to feel guilty and bad because they're rich, because it's sinful to be rich. That's not what he says. He says, if you find yourself in a place of thriving, here's the instruction for you. Don't find your security and your hope in it. It's an unstable foundation. And be generous. And so what we discover here is whether you're surviving, striving, or thriving, there's instruction for you. So here's what you might want to do. I suggest take this page, like dog-ear this page of your Bible, highlight it in your Bible app, make a note to come back to it, meditate over a lot of what is here. But let's just talk through a few things today. If you are living in the crushing weight of surviving, that first column on the left-hand side, maybe even you would say you are barely surviving financially. Here's the first thing I want to encourage you to do. I want you to think with the end in mind. That's wisdom that comes from another wise person who reminds us, think with the end in mind. Because what you want to do is I want to get out of this place of just surviving, because surviving is when the pain is hot and it's loud and it's commanding my attention, and I don't want like the worries and concerns about finances to be dominating my thoughts. I'm in this place of surviving. So somehow we got to move from surviving at least to striving. But if you're going to do that, you got to think with the end in mind. So we're going to do that today, because here's what I want to hear. I want you to hear this. I believe that this is a temporary season of your life. And this week, as I thought and prayed over 20-some years of ministry, listening to people's stories of disaster and chaos and financial stress, I thought back and so many of the folks who lost homes, lost businesses, lost a job, and the pain was high. I look back and realize those were temporary situations. It didn't make the pain any less. It just means that when you're in the moment, you're like, this is how it's going to be forever. And I just want to encourage you, this is not how it's going to be forever. It is temporary. The pain is high. I want to acknowledge that. And at the end of our service today, we're going to have a time of prayer. And I'm going to invite you to come forward and allow someone to pray with you, pray over you, and just invite the presence of Jesus to let Jesus walk with you so that you don't walk through this time of just barely surviving. You don't want to walk through it alone. But it is temporary. But in order for it to be less temporary than maybe it could be, every one of us has to think with the end in mind. So here's how we're going to do that today. John Wesley, another wise elder who teaches so much, he gave a sermon that was written down and preached because, well, it was really, really helpful. Here were the 3 points of his sermon preached a few hundred years ago when John Wesley talks about the use of money. And here's what he said. 3 points right here. Point number 1, earn all you can. Point number 2, save all you can. Point number 3, give all you can. And if you are filling in the blanks, there's 3 blanks for you to fill in here. Earn all you can, save all you can, give all you can. Let's start to kind of know. I like to connect the dots here. So here's what I believe. When you are financially thriving, give all you can. That's your motto. When it comes to money, your attitude toward money, your perspective with money, give all you can is your perspective. Now, if you're like, okay, I'm not thriving, this doesn't apply to me. No, I'm intentionally starting at the end, right? Because if we get the end in mind, that'll help us to move and take some steps where we are, okay? So let's talk about getting the end in mind, and the end is give all you can, not spend all you can. Not buy all you can. Not even vacation all you can. Or whatever is your preferred, attractive messaging from the broader culture around us. Because let's just be honest, the broader cultural's financial value says this: consume all you can. The good news is there's consuming that's like low-priced, low-value options, and there are high-priced, high-value options for consuming and everywhere in between. It's the core marketing message. There's something for everybody to buy, to be a consumer, and the broader culture's financial value is consume all you can. Consume all the stuff you can. Consume all of the experiences you can, but you are a consumer and your job is to consume. Now think about that. If that is your vision for your finances, do you realize that is an impossible vision to fulfill? How big of a house would you have to have and a warehouse to buy one of every item on Amazon? Like, you could make that your mission in life. I'm going to buy one of everything. By the time you purchased everything and it arrives here from China, there's already 4,000 more things you got to buy. Just think about that. Like, you can't actually fulfill that mission of consuming everything. You could actually fulfill a vision of giving everything away, though. So just this week, I did a little thought experiment. And I just thought, okay, how difficult would it be for the average person to give away $1 million in their lifetime. And so I just kind of thought through this, and then I used ChatGPT's math skills to help me with it. And I said, okay, ChatGPT, if we take the salary schedule for a teacher in the Ridgefield School District, okay, 1 year of experience, and at about year 7, they get the master's degree, and then about year 12, they're like the master's plus 45, or however that all works, right? And they teach to the 30 years, right? And then they get another job after that because they're only 52 years old. After 30 years of teaching, they started at 22. And if they've been tithing, and if they were like a kid and they just had this vision from God to like be faithful, and they started off when they were 12 years old, making a couple $1,000s a year, and they just tithed 10% like you and tell us to do, and then they were crazy and they saved 10% their whole life from 12 until 65, and then they were the 65, they finally retired, and then they bumped up their giving from 10% to 15%. Okay, I give out all the math. I can show you the worksheets later on, but here's the end result. You get really close to $1 million on a teacher's salary with a commitment to give and save. And if you were to answer that question, if I were to ask you, like, do you think it's possible for you to give away $1 million in your lifetime? You say, no, not me. I'm not some like billionaire or something. I can't give away $1 million. No, you actually can't. The math works out. Several years ago, I read a book about a guy who just kind of writes like, what does it take to have a big, crazy vision for something in your life and actually accomplish it? His vision was to visit every country in the world. And he did it. And he tells about the story of how he did it. It's a pretty crazy story, pretty cool story. Nothing wrong with it, nothing sinful with it, but think about this. If at the end of your life, you could say, I have either visited every country in the world or I've given away $1 million, which are you going to look back on and feel more successful about? Giving away $1 million. What if that was your vision for life? A more meaningful life? I mean, it fits with what Paul gave to Timothy, to the people in his congregation. For those who are rich in the present world, for those who are thriving, command them to do good, be rich in good deeds, be generous, be willing to share. That's a vision for life. So we said that Jesus strengthens us by giving us a worthy load. What would it look like for you to throw off the weight of lifestyle expectations? The expectations you've just kind of brought on yourself from family, friends, broader culture of how you should be living, of what your lifestyle should look like. That's a weight to carry. And Jesus says, here's a better vision for your life, and I want to give you permission to throw off the expectations of a lifestyle. I think Jesus even gives us the permission and strengthens us to throw off the weight of lifestyle shaming. Because maybe you hear it regularly on holidays from your father-in-law who says, oh, still making my daughter drive that old minivan, huh? You know, and back in my day, I never let my wife drive nothing more than 2 years old. And you say, get behind me, Satan. You do not have in mind the things of God, but the things of man. I'm just kidding. Do not tell your father-in-law. Do not call him Satan. But I want to give you permission to throw off that expectation of lifestyle shaming that somebody thinks how you should be living when Jesus gives you a better vision for your life. Okay, so we talked about thriving. I'm watching the clock. I really got to get going here. Okay, now let's go back to surviving. If you are currently surviving, I hope you are paying attention because we want to think with the end in mind. Because if you think with that end in mind that I just shared with you, and if you believe that, and if you can come to believe that giving is more meaningful than consuming, then you can actually start giving in small, even if it's just small ways. You can start giving now. You can start giving by consuming less. And even now, as you are surviving, you can experience more meaning in life and get more progress out of survival, because Jesus has altered your perspective that you are not a consumer and that it's better to give. So let's talk about surviving, okay? When you are financially surviving, earn all you can is your motto in life. And I realize if you're like, Jason, I'm trying to find that job that's going to help me to earn all that I can, and that is the weight that I'm carrying. You know what? We will continue to pray with you, work with you, pray with you, encourage you to find that job. Because this is the motto when you are in a place of surviving. Earn all you can. Pay off your debt. Take all your extra money. Attack the debt so that you can move out of this place of surviving. Work with your spouse. We're not going to have time to share it today, but maybe if you stick around, if we have a little time in the 10:45 service, one of the most special things that Eric and I got to do was to make the call to the Dave Ramsey radio show and share our debt-free story. And when he said, what was the best part of it? I remember one of the best parts of it for us was finally working together on the budget. Finally communicating together every month, making progress together, communicating with each other, attacking the debt, getting out of debt. And when we were able to get out of debt, we had just had Easton. Erica was able to work one day less, and life changed in so many good ways. Okay, where to start? Let me give you something really, really practical today, okay? Part of the problem with the weight that we're carrying is we keep it all in our head, and it just bounces around our head. And as it bounces around our head, the fears grow and it kind of exaggerate. And sometimes you just need to get it out of your head onto a piece of paper. So here's what you do. Take a stack of sticky notes. And for every financial worry, fear, obligation that kind of has you down, you just write one bill, one whatever it may be, on each sticky note, until you get them all down on the sticky notes. And then you just take them and say, okay, which one is the like, if I would just attack this one first, it would be the biggest bang for my buck. It would relieve the most, maybe even take the smallest one just to get a little bit of a win. You pick that, and that's number one. And you take what's number two, and you put underneath it, and just stack them in order of priority. And then you give all your energy to the sticky note that's on the top, and you just nail that one down, and the day you pay that off, you crumple it up, you throw it away, and you get on to the next one. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to have far fewer sticky notes than you think you will. Because all your fears and concerns have been bouncing around in your head, accidentally becoming bigger than they truly are. When you take it out of your head, you put it on paper, all of a sudden it becomes manageable. So now I want to add a little extra though, because it's not just earn all you can, it's also, I would add to this, is to spend as little as you can. Yeah, I got extra things to say, but I'm just going to keep on moving on that. Spend as little as you can. And typically if you're married, one of you is going to be better at the earning, maybe, and one of you is going to be better at the spending less. Teamwork together. Listen to your spouse with whatever their strengths are and just let them take the lead with that, okay? The next step is going to be to save, right? You can kind of see where this goes. Like if earn all you can goes with surviving, then save all you can is going to go with striving. And if you're going to be able to save, think about this. You're going to be able to save more even in the next step. If right now you can spend less, you can get to saving. So even now you can begin to save a little bit. Practicing, walking towards your vision. Take Financial Peace University. Give you a plan and some steps and some action and help you and your spouse get on the same page. Write it down, get a plan, earn all you can, spend as little as you can. And the last one, striving. You're no longer just waiting, like just treading water just to keep your head above water, out of a place of surviving. And now is the long, hard, boring, grinding it out. And when you are financially striving, save all you can is your motto. You've already been practicing giving. And so you're still giving some, you're following the instructions of God, like give 10% away. And when you give the first 10% to God, God does God math and he adds to it and actually does blesses you, even though you're not doing it for that reason, but God does. And so you should. And so you're giving and then you are saving. Saving is a long haul and saving is boring. So I just want you to remember verse 10, what he said here. The love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and they have pierced themselves with many griefs. When you're in the place of striving, and it's long and it's hard, it's really easy to make compromising decisions out of fatigue because you're working hard. And often those are the decisions we look back and say, oh, I made an impulse decision because I was so tired. And it actually set me back. So if this is where you are, you're striving. If you're like, man, I'm just tired and worn out, it's just so boring. Yeah, that is striving. It's kind of life as well. So if you're in a place of striving, beware of any convenience tax. I shouldn't call it a tax. That unfairly blames the government. It's not the government's fault that we pay convenience. Well, it kind of... let's get back here. You know what a convenience tax is? The extra money we waste to pay for conveniences. I did the research. Did you know that you pay 60% more for your food when you DoorDash it? Now, I don't want to revive any husband and wife fights here. I told you we shouldn't be DoorDash and Grubhub and all that. This is the data. Okay? Because they have to make their money somehow. They have to pay their drivers somehow. And the restaurants upcharge and charge you more for the convenience. Here's what that means if you pay 60% more. Okay? You paid $64 to DoorDash that would have cost you only $40 to go to the store and get. That's a high convenience fee just for convenience. Now, if you have the extra 60% to throw away and burn, go ahead, throw away and burn, I guess, if you're thriving. I'm tired is the opportunity to make easy but small, costly decisions. So how about you? Where are you? Surviving, striving, thriving. And as you can see, there is biblical truth from God and wisdom for every one of us, no matter which one you may fall into. And here's the last part I want you to leave you with. Every financial season has a weight to be carried. A lie that we tell ourselves is, as soon as I'm in a place of thriving, then life will be easy and I won't have to worry about money at all. That is a myth. Every financial season has a weight to be carried. But the good news is, we serve a God who's really strong and has broad shoulders, and who loves us and cares for us and says, I want to walk with you through this and every financial season. That you are not made to walk it alone. So here's where we really, really daily, intentionally integrate our walk with Jesus with the financial weight that we are carrying as we invite Jesus to walk with us, to walk with you through this financial season. And if you're in a place of surviving, you say, Jesus, would you walk with me through and out of this place of surviving? If you're in a place of striving and you're grinding it and it's hard, you say, Jesus, would you walk with me? Jesus, keep me focused. Because Jesus, I could get distracted. God, I'm going to need your help. Would you keep me focused and encouraged to do the right thing when it's so hard? If you are in a place of thriving, you say, Jesus, would you keep me focused on the end? Jesus, keep me focused that you are my hope. Jesus, invite Jesus to walk with you and guide you in every financial decision you make, no matter what season you're in, surviving, striving, thriving. Number 2, ask for God's vision for your financial future. Because the Holy Spirit is a voice of truth. But in a world of marketing, his still, small voice can be really difficult to hear. So, which one of these is your financial prayer this week for the God who loves you, cares for you, doesn't want you to carry the financial weight alone? Come on, let's talk to God. God, thank you that in your word you give us a vision for our finances that is better than any vision statement we could have come up with. God, would you open our eyes to see the future you have for us? And God, I especially pray for my friends who are in a place of surviving today. Would you find them, even here, right now? Walk with them today, Lord Jesus. What's your prayer today? Jesus, walk with me. God, give me your vision for my financial future.